Naruto. After Jiraiya died, Naruto went to Mount Myōboku to learn Sage Mode from the Toads Fukasaku and Shima. And shockingly, Naruto reached perfect Sage Mode. Just orange eyeshadow and toad-like pupils, but no wild changes to his body. That shows total control. He completely surpassed Jiraiya-sensei. At first, there was a big problem. Kurama kept interfering, so Fukasaku couldn't fuse with Naruto. But Naruto came up with a brilliant fix, the Shadow Clone Jutsu. While the real Naruto fought, his clones meditated and gathered natural energy, then passed it back to him. However, making more than 5 clones at once would mess up the balance. Over time, Naruto got so good at this that he could enter Sage Mode almost instantly. Sage Mode boosted everything: strength, speed, toughness. Naruto could lift giant stone toad statues, and during the pain fight, he easily slammed around that huge summoning rhino. His durability shot up like crazy. His signature move in this form was Frog Kata, and it was a total game changer. It used the natural energy surrounding his body to attack without even touching. It basically gave his punches invisible range. Pain's Parita Path got knocked out cold by one of these hits. Rasengan and Rasen Shuriken became way more powerful in Sage Mode. They grew bigger, hit harder, and moved more freely. Naruto's sensing skills also leveled up hard. He could feel chakra from super far away. Later on, when he became friends with Kurama, he learned how to combine Kurama Chakra Mode with Sage Mode. That let him keep it going longer and gave him unlimited chakra. Then came his ultimate form, 6 Paths, Sage Mode. After receiving power from Hagoromo, Naruto awakened 6 Paths Senjutsu with that unique cross-shaped pupil. He could fly, dodge attacks moving at light speed, sense Madara's invisible limbo clones, and create truth-seeking balls made of all 5 chakra natures and yin-yang release. These truth-seeking balls were absolutely insane. He could shape them into weapons, shoot them like bullets, or turn them into a massive Rasen Shuriken strong enough to destroy Madara's mini-moon Chibaku Tensei. Combined with Kurama Avatar, he created a 3-faced, 6-armed form that looked like the Sage of 6 Paths Kunitsukami form from Asura's spirit. This version of Naruto could even power up 2 giant Rasen Shuriken with Sage Chakra, strong enough to clash evenly with Sasuke's Indra's arrow, and the blast was so big people could see it from space. Honestly, this is what you'd expect from the Child of Prophecy, someone completely destined to change the ninja world. Now, if you've made it this far, welcome to the amazing world of anime. This is the place for true fans like you, where we celebrate all the magic, action, and emotions anime brings to our lives. You've watched, you've felt the hype, you've been lost in these beautiful fantasy worlds, but, have you hit that subscribe button yet? Right now, almost 90% of you are watching without subscribing. Just imagine, if everyone hit sub, we could build one of the strongest anime communities out there. So, go ahead, click that subscribe button right now so you won't miss any new episodes, deep dive breakdowns, or awesome anime content coming your way. Thank you so much. Hashiamarama Senju. This is the man who did something absolutely no one else ever pulled off. He created his own Sage Mode without learning it from any animal or sacred place. Hashirama's way of mastering Sage Mode was totally unique. While most characters had to train in hidden sage locations and learn from animal mentors, Hashirama just figured it out by himself. No teacher, no guidance, just his own insanely deep understanding of natural energy. Because of that, when he activates Sage Mode, you won't see any animal features like frog eyes or snake skin. Instead, he has special markings around his eyes and on his forehead, almost like a shining sun. This isn't a mix of human and animal. This is pure, untouched Sage Mode, complete harmony with nature, without any outside influence. What's even crazier is that Hashirama could enter Sage Mode instantly. No prep time, no meditation, no shadow clones like Naruto. One moment he's normal, and the next he's already in perfect Sage Mode. And the most impressive part? He could stay in that mode while doing insane stuff, like riding on massive trees he created with his wood style, flying through battle at top speed, and still calmly absorbing natural energy the whole time. When he combines Sage Mode with his wood style, Hashiamarama becomes a terrifying force of nature. His trees are unbelievably strong, strong enough to hold down even the most powerful tailed beasts. His ultimate move, True Several Thousand Hands, was so strong it literally shattered Kurama's Susanoo armor and helped create the Valley of the End itself. Seriously, when you look at Hashirama's Sage Mode, you totally understand why they call him the God of Shinobi. No weaknesses mentioned, no limits shown. He reached a level of Sage Mode that everyone else could only dream of. Minato Namikaze. Everyone knows Minato as the Yellow Flash, but how many people actually know he also achieved perfect Sage Mode? That's what makes Minato arguably one of the most complete ninjas in history. A true genius who could do everything. Yes, it's confirmed. Minato reached perfect Sage state. When he activates it, the only visible change is the orange pigment around his eyes. No animal features, no weird transformations. That's how clean and stable his Sage Mode really is. So why don't we ever see Minato using it? The answer lies in his fighting style. Minato's whole approach to battle is based on speed and non-stop movement. His Flying Thunder God needs constant teleporting and rapid repositioning. But Sage Mode requires stillness to gather and maintain natural energy. Those two styles are fundamentally opposite. Now imagine if Minato actually used Sage Mode in combat. His Rasengan would have been upgraded into something as destructive as Jiraiya's Big Ball Rasengan. Add that to Hiraishin, and his speed and power would have reached a level that literally no one could keep up with. But honestly, he didn't even need it. Why use your ultimate power when your regular techniques are already overkill? It'd be like bringing a nuke to a street fight. Possible, sure, but completely unnecessary. Minato was already so dominant that most of his battles ended in seconds. There was just no need to pull out Sage Mode. That's true strength, not needing to show off, but always having something even more powerful in your back pocket. His perfect Sage Mode was more like a safety net, a backup plan, something he kept for situations where even his incredible speed might not be enough. Sadly, we never got to see the full potential of Minato's Sage Mode. He died way too early. But just knowing that the Yellow Flash could have become even more terrifying makes him arguably the most complete shinobi ever created. Kabuto Yakushi. Kabuto Yakushi is living proof of that old saying, the student has surpassed the master. Kabuto didn't just learn Sage Mode the normal way at Ryuchi Cave. No, he totally went beyond that. He turned his body into a living science lab. He absorbed the DNA of Orochimaru, Jugo, Karen, and a ton of other powerful ninjas, and then upgraded it all. The result? A full-blown biological monster with way too many overpowered abilities. When he enters Sage Mode, he doesn't just turn into a snake like most people expected. He says it himself. He's a snake that evolved into a dragon. He grows 4 horns on his head, and his eyes are covered by a snake-like protective film. That tiny detail is actually crazy important. It makes him completely immune to any kind of genjutsu that works through sight. But the scariest thing about Kabuto? He can stay in Sage Mode like forever. Naruto can only hold it for a few minutes. Jiraiya needs to meditate to maintain it. But thanks to Jugo's DNA, Kabuto passively absorbs natural energy while fighting. No resting, no breaks. He basically hacked the entire Sage Mode system. It wasn't until his fight with Itachi and Sasuke that we really saw just how insanely strong Kabuto had become. He fought both Uchiha geniuses at the same time and wasn't even losing. His sound-based genjutsu could actually break through Susanoo, which is supposed to be an absolute defense. He could even bring life to dead matter. He turned the entire cave into a living, moving creature that attacked Itachi and Sasuke from all directions. What I personally love about Kabuto's Sage Mode design is how scientific it is. He didn't get stronger through spiritual connection or ancient training. He used genetics, biology, and cold hard science to build the perfect version of Sage Mode. It's the ultimate mix of classic ninjutsu and modern science. Oh, and don't forget, because he has Karen's DNA, Kabuto also has regeneration powers. He can heal from pretty much any injury almost instantly. Combine that with infinite Sage Mode, and you've got a one-man war machine that's basically unstoppable. Honestly, if Itachi hadn't used Izanami, a jutsu so unpredictable and unique, it can trap you in a loop of your own actions, I seriously don't know how Kabuto could have been beaten. He achieved what every other Sage Mode user only dreams of: perfect power, perfect control, unlimited duration, and an absolutely wild arsenal of abilities. White Snake Sage. Ah yes, the oldest snake, the highest ranking one, and the true master of Snake Sage Mode at Ryuchi Cave. Her training method is totally brutal. She literally bites her students with fangs as sharp as knives and forcefully pumps natural energy straight into their bodies. If your body can't handle it, congrats, you just became her dinner. It's really that simple. This is exactly why Orochimaru, one of the most insanely talented ninjas ever, never fully mastered Snake Sage Mode. The bodies he kept switching into weren't strong enough to handle that wild raw power from nature. All in all, the White Snake Sage is basically the ultimate form of Sage Mode in snake style. She's a master of snake-based genjutsu, and her mind tricks are super advanced. She can totally mess with your head, creating complex illusions, hiding her true form, and even inserting thoughts from other snakes into your brain. But honestly, the scariest thing about her isn't even her power, it's her brain. She's ancient, like thousands of years old. She's lived through countless generations of ninjas, watched endless wars and peace come and go. Her knowledge of Sage Mode is not only massive, but seriously refined by time and experience. Shima and Fukasaku. These two are the real masters behind the scenes, the ones who helped shape Sage Mode into the powerful form we know today. Unlike most ninjas who seriously struggle to learn Sage Mode, Shima and Fukasaku were basically born with a natural talent for it. They come from Mount Myōboku, a mystical place where only truly chosen ones are allowed to go. They've lived for hundreds of years, seen countless generations of shinobi rise and fall, and yet they've totally kept their skills sharp and their Sage Mode control absolutely flawless. Fukasaku can absorb natural energy super quickly. He's even strong enough to lift huge rocks or toss Gamabunta across the battlefield. Shima, on the other hand, is an expert in sound-based jutsu. Her voice alone can literally paralyze enemies. Remember the fight with Pain? Jiraiya heavily relied on these two. They sat on his shoulders, constantly gathering natural energy, and completely turned Sage Mode's biggest weakness, its time limit, into a massive advantage. That strategy was something only they could pull off. The truth is, Shima and Fukasaku don't fight by charging into battle. They're not brawlers. They're brilliant tacticians who use their experience and brains to win. Honestly, without Shima and Fukasaku, Sage Mode probably wouldn't have become the insanely powerful ability it is today. Jiraiya. Jiraiya learned Sage Mode the traditional way, from Mount Myōboku, the sacred land of the wise toads. Unlike Hashiamarama, who created his own path, Jiraiya had to go through intense training under the guidance of Fukasaku, one of the two great toad sages. This is the same path Naruto would later follow. But even with all that training, Jiraiya never reached perfect Sage Mode. When he activated it, his body partially turned into a toad, his nose grew larger, his skin became rough, and he developed webbed hands and feet. Yeah, he had huge chakra reserves, but fully syncing with natural energy was still a serious challenge for him. Still, Jiraiya came up with a brilliant strategy. He fused with Fukasaku and Shima. The two toad sages sat on his shoulders during battle, constantly gathering natural energy while he focused on fighting. It was a genius move that made Sage Mode actually usable in real combat. And when Jiraiya entered Sage Mode, he became incredibly dangerous. His Rasengan turned into the Ultra Big Ball Rasengan, a massive chakra bomb that could cause explosive destruction. And then there's Gomen, a terrifying combo attack with the two toads that could literally wipe out an entire area with boiling oil and fire. The fight against Pain was the ultimate showcase of Jiraiya's Sage Mode power. He transformed from a strong Sannin into someone who could seriously threaten the Akatsuki leader. Even though he was eventually defeated, his strength and strategy forced Pain to take him very seriously. Cooji Kashin. Here he is, the clone of Jeriah, but a fully upgraded version, specially designed for one purpose only, to take down a god. While Jeriah had to train hard, take a long time to prepare, and still needed help from Fukasaku and Shima to enter Sage Mode, and even then, it wasn't perfect. Cooji can activate Sage Mode instantly. No prep, no backup, just a thought, and he's in Sage Mode. When Cooji transforms, his changes are minimal, just toad-like eyes and dark markings around them. That's it. That's the level of control Kara's science achieved. They didn't just copy Jiraiya's DNA, they totally improved it. Amato created a warrior without weaknesses, a perfect weapon, specifically built to fight Ishiki Otsutsuki. Koji's Sage Mode is absolutely insane. He stood toe-to-toe with Ishiki Otsutsuki. During their fight, Cooji blocked Ishiki's attacks, and even pushed him back for a while with powerful Sage Jutsu. His signature move is Sage Art, 5 Fire Gods fan flames. The fire he summons is seriously massive, so much that even Ishiki was caught off guard. Cooji is practically programmed to be perfect. No unnecessary emotions, just a clear goal, and all of his power is totally focused on that goal. Compared to Jeriah, Cooji is better in every technical way. He can enter Sage Mode faster, keep it stable longer, and use it way more efficiently. He's living proof that science, when used right, can absolutely surpass natural talent. 3 years after Boruto left the Hidden Leaf, Cooji became Boruto's mentor. So yeah, he's not just a warrior, he's also a teacher who can pass on real knowledge and experience. Gamakichi. When we talk about underrated characters in Naruto, Gamakichi definitely deserves a top spot. He's the son of Gamabunta and Naruto's personal summoning toad, so yeah, he might look like just a regular side character. But he's actually a sage. He was born at Mount Myōboku. You get it, right? What Jiraiya and Naruto had to painfully train for over months, Gamakichi could do naturally from birth. He could feel and control natural energy as easily as breathing. That's a huge head start. But honestly, that's also the saddest thing about him. Kishimoto never really explored his full potential. We only got tiny glimpses of what Gamakichi could actually do. His starch syrup gun mixed with senjutsu, or his flame bullet boosted by natural chakra, those are just the tip of the iceberg. We never really saw Gamakichi go all out. He was always in a supporting role, never given the spotlight to truly show off what he could do. And I honestly believe, if Kishimoto had spent more time developing him, Gamakichi could have been one of the most dangerous Sage Mode users in the entire series. Jugo. In Naruto, some people are just born with the kind of power that others have to train their whole lives to get. Yeah, Jugo. Unlike Naruto or Jiraiya, who had to work hard to learn Sage Mode from sacred places, Jugo was born with the natural ability to absorb natural energy on his own. But this wasn't a gift, it was more like a curse. His entire clan had this special gene, but none of them could fully control the wild rage that came with it. Jugo can transform parts or all of his body instantly. His arm might turn into a giant hammer, his back can grow cannons, and his skin turns dark and hard as steel. When he fully transforms, his eyes lose all emotion, and the pure killing instinct completely takes over. Orochimaru saw this insane potential and used Jugo's DNA to create the cursed seal. But compared to the original, those who got the seal were just weaker copies. They needed time to activate. They had limits. but Jugo was the source, stronger and more natural by far. In battle, Jugo doesn't stick to one style. He adapts instantly. If he needs speed, he grows boosters. If he needs power, his arms become massive pistons. If he needs defense, he turns his whole body into living armor. He's like a walking Swiss Army knife of destruction. But this strength came with a heavy price. Jugo lived in constant fear, afraid of losing control, afraid of hurting the people he cared about. When he met Kimimaro, it was the first time he found someone who could calm his rage. That's why he respects Sasuke so deeply, because Sasuke reminded him of Kimimaro's calm, focused spirit. Later on, Jugo actually improved his control a lot. He even gave Sasuke some of his sage power during the fight against Jubido, which is just crazy impressive. And here's a little detail I personally love. Jugo can talk to birds. Seriously. For someone so dangerous, he can also be weirdly peaceful, almost like a gentle giant, or like Snow White if she had rocket launchers. Mitsuki. If Naruto H and Jiraiya had to train so hard, then Mitsuki was just born with Sage Mode already inside him. That's the difference between natural evolution and straight-up genetic engineering. Orochimaru literally injected Jugo's DNA into Mitsuki's genetic code. So yeah, imagine being born with a power that other ninja spend their whole lives trying to unlock. That's what makes Mitsuki a kind of artificial sage, designed to be perfect. Actually, Mitsuki actually failed 5 times before he became the real one. Each time he failed, Orochimaru wiped his memory and started over from scratch. On the 6th attempt, under extreme emotional pressure, Mitsuki finally unlocked Sage Mode. This wasn't some natural awakening, it was the result of scientific torture disguised as experimentation. When Mitsuki activates Sage Mode, his appearance is absolutely wild. A horn grows from his forehead, and his body is covered in a glowing turquoise chakra cloak. But the coolest part? The chakra snakes swirling around him. They can attack on their own, extend his range, and hit enemies from multiple angles at once. His speed is straight up ridiculous. There was a moment where he moved so fast that even Orochimaru, one of the fastest ninja ever, couldn't track him. Orochimaru even said that Mitsuki's power in this state surpasses the legendary Sannin. And that's insane because the Sannin were the top-tier legends of their generation. And Mitsuki's just a teenager. But of course, that power comes with a price. At first, using Sage Mode could literally damage Mitsuki's body, destroying cells, even causing permanent organ damage. That's the downside of being artificially enhanced. His body wasn't naturally built to handle all that power. It's like pouring rocket fuel into a regular car engine, technically possible, but super dangerous. After 3 years of training, Mitsuki got better at handling it. Now, he can fight for longer without destroying himself. That shows how adaptable he is. He's evolving to become more compatible with his own power source. You see, sometimes the most dangerous opponents aren't the ones with ancient clans or godly bloodlines. Sometimes it's the ones made in a lab, built with one goal in mind: to be better than everyone else. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.